So the Greens want to lower the voting age to 16. These people are mad. Let's talk about it. I've always found it difficult to understand why the Greens continually want to lower the voting age, but they are absolutely committed to giving teenagers the vote.
Last week, the New Zealand Supreme Court found that it was discriminatory and a breach of human rights to deny 16 and 17-year-olds the right and the opportunity to vote. It's going to take more than just lowering the voting age. We need more young people elected to Parliament to directly represent their interests and concerns.
They've got a whole page on their website devoted to it. Hilariously, it begins, and I quote, "Right now, the future is effed." Well, there you go. You've got to hand it to the Greens. They really know how to communicate with the young people.
Hey, brah, I've been meaning to ask you, can we get some Red Bull for these things? Sometimes the guy's got to ride the bull. Am I right? Later, skater.
Create a sense of impending doom and apply the F-bomb liberally, much like one of their party room meetings, I imagine. The Greens then, predictably, go on about how the planet is falling apart and how this is a great cause of anxiety, and how one of the biggest problems in Australia is the difficulty in making a mental health appointment. That's telling, isn't it? The Greens believe that the number one thing young people who vote for them need is a mental health appointment.
Farming needs to stop. That's the single biggest driver of climate change.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So, like I said, I've been trying to work out why the Greens believe that mentally challenged young people should get to vote. And then, over summer, it all made sense. Revelations that voters pay more attention to Taylor Swift than party policies when casting their ballot suddenly made sense of the Greens' strategy.
The singer's PJ has emitted more than 8,000 metric tons of carbon in the last 7 months alone. And just to put things into perspective, the study reports that's nearly 1,200 times more than the average person's annual carbon emissions.
If the right to vote is restricted to those old enough and sensible enough to pay attention to policy, then the Greens are obviously unelectable. No one in their right mind would agree to the Marxist anti-growth policies of the Greens. What if a group of people could be found who were less concerned with sensible ideas and important details than with cute cliches to catchy tunes? What if a group of people with zero life experience and an absolute commitment to living in the moment could be found? What if a group of people who had only ever known a world in which other people support them and whose greatest concern is figuring out if the thing between their legs means that they are a male or a female or neither would be given the right to vote? Wouldn't those kinds of people make perfect Green supporters?
A trans female could get pregnant?
Identify with that.
Yeah.
A man who...
Wait, did I say that wrong?
I don't know.
I might have.
I believe a man can get pregnant.
Sometimes.
I might have learned this in some class, I think.
Depends on what they identify as.
I think, technically, yeah.
If you identify as male, but you're biologically a female, you can, yes.
The Greens cannot convince thinking people to support them, so they are desperate to extend voting rights to people who will feel rather than think. Just as in America, Joe Biden is committed to flooding the country with illegal immigrants in order to shore up his vote. The Australian Greens are desperate to flood the ballot boxes with teenagers to help them elect more Marxists into Parliament. Because if teenagers are unable to vote for them, to quote the Greens' own website, well, their electoral future is effed. If anything, the voting age should be raised. Keep the Greens out of government. I'm Senator Babet for the United Australia Party.